Hi everyone, Dan here. I just came out to my truck to put my new registration sticker on, and it gave me an idea for a new video. I've already done a couple videos about my truck, of things that I've done to it, and I got this idea and figured I would share some things about my truck for people who are potentially thinking about buying an F-150 on the used market. My truck is a 2011. It is an F-150 Super Crew. It's a two-wheel drive Lariat, and it's got the full-size box on it. I'll show you in just a second. But anyway, as I was out here, I was thinking about some of the issues that I've had with this truck, and it seems like every time I've had an issue with this truck, I've gone online and looked at YouTube videos, and I've looked in the F-150 forum, and these issues seem to be, called known issues. So I figured that I would just compile a little quick video of some of these known issues for those of you that are on the used truck market and are thinking about buying a used F-150. Like I said, mine's a 2011. I did buy it used. It was a year old when I bought it, low mileage. I got a great deal on it, and that's how I ended up with it. The other thing is, I've had two Ford trucks previously, and I was not hesitant about buying another Ford truck because I had great luck with my other two trucks. I had a 94 Ranger Super Cab four-wheel drive. It had a 4-speed transmission and 6-cylinder. That truck was awesome. I had it for about 10 years, put about 100,000 miles on it, and then I sold it. Because a few years prior to selling it, I inherited a truck from my father when he passed away, and it was a 98 F-150 Super Cab. It had the 4.6 V8 in it, and I had excellent luck with that truck. My dad had put 50,000 miles on it. I put another 80,000 miles on it with really no maintenance to it at all besides routine maintenance. I think the only maintenance I had to do with my Ranger was I replaced a thermostat in it, and the air conditioning compressor went out on it and had to have that replaced. But that's really it. So I don't want this video to get turned into a pissing contest about which truck is better. I'm just talking about my experience and someone who may be looking particularly at a Ford truck. Like I said, I've had good experience with them. I got a really good deal on this truck. That's part of the reason that I got it. I was looking at Chevys. I was looking at Toyotas. I was looking at really at all the other trucks to see what was the best, what I thought was the best deal for my money. I got a great deal on this truck. So I don't want this to turn into comments about which truck's better, which one's worse. They all have their problems. They all have their pros and cons, and I'm just talking about this one. So my experience that may help somebody that's looking at a good deal on an F-150. Okay, so that being said, I'll give you a quick shot of my truck. Also, my video quality, I know it's not the best. I'm doing this on my phone. I'm trying to do these videos to help people out because YouTube videos have been very helpful for me on some of the issues that I've had with this truck. And so I'm just doing this to help people out. This is not supposed to be a professional, fancy video, but just to give you a quick look. This is my truck. I like it. I like the black and gold paint job on it. I finally got it cleaned up, but anyway, like I said, it's the Super Crew, but it's got the full-size bed on it, which I like because I have a motorcycle and good ramps, and I can drive my motorcycle right up in the back of the truck, and I can haul my motorcycle with it. I got my finger in there. But anyway, okay, so real quick, I want to go over a couple of these, what these are called known issues with the Ford F-150s, particularly the 11s to the 14s, because in I think it was 15 is when they changed, they went over to the aluminum bodies and made some changes and some styles and things like that. So like I said, I have the 5.0 V8 in mine. It's got a 373 rear end. It's got the towing package on it. So it's got the oil cooler and the oversized radiator, things like that. Okay, so since I'm here right now, I'm going to show you the first known issue. This right here. Stoplight, tail light, cargo light. Okay, on the F-150s, this is one of those known issues. In fact, it just reared its ugly head with me on this truck. We've been having a lot of rain over the past couple of weeks, and I knew this was an issue, but I wasn't having any symptoms or signs of the problem, but they just reared their ugly head. And I got in my truck the other day and I saw water dripping right back here on the inside. You can see in the video, like right back here under where the light was, from the inside from my headliner. I knew immediately what it is. These things are known to leak. The gasket in them over time deteriorates and they start leaking, and they will leak into the truck. And a lot of people I've seen, you can go on the internet, you can look at it, it ruins the inside of the truck. You get water in your truck, you can get mold. It's just not a good scene. It'll stain the headliner. Fortunately, my headliner was not stained, and it looks like it just started leaking. Unfortunately, Ford's answer to it is you can't buy a gasket. You have to go buy the whole new piece. You got to go buy the whole new, and apparently, well, from what I've seen, they put a thicker gasket on it so it sticks out a little bit further from the truck. It looks kind of funky, but that's their fix for it. They want you to buy the whole new piece, and of course, I think it's $100-something piece. So me being cheap, not wanting to do that, what I did is I pulled the fixture out. I replaced all 3 of the bulbs to put new bulbs in there. I put it back on there. I lined the whole thing with silicone sealant, and I put it back on there and then sealed all around it with silicone sealant. We had a massive rainstorm last night, and as far as I can tell, it's working great, no issues. When it does come time to replace it or fix it, you know, it's just a silicone sealant. I can pull it right off. And you know, if I decide I want to buy the new fixture later on, yeah, no problem, I can do that. So known issue with those trucks. So if you're looking at an F-150, check that and check to make sure that there hasn't been any water damage from it. Another issue here, this is not a huge issue. I think this is just one of those things that over time happens, but right here, this right here, backup camera. Just recently I had an issue where my backup camera went out. And what it starts doing is it'll start working intermittently. That's what I started seeing. I started seeing that I would get it would be a blank screen on the entertainment center when you back up. It would be a blank screen, or it would look like an old snowy TV. It would start having all kind of interference and stuff like that. And then eventually it just stopped working, and I get a message now every time I put my truck in reverse. I get a message on the screen that says that it's not getting a signal from the backup camera. Of course, you go online and do some research, and everybody says, oh yeah, that means the camera's pretty much gone bad. So, like I said, it's a 2011, you know, we just rolled into 2019, so I guess 8 years for this camera, or 8.5, or 7.5, 8 years for this camera. I don't know, some might say that's too short of a life, but I don't know, what can you do? The downside is it's about a $200 camera. I think you can get aftermarket ones a little bit cheaper. I have not replaced the camera yet. It's a super easy replacement, but I'll tell you this, the trick I learned when I was trying to troubleshoot it is, and this is kind of, I think this is kind of a crap deal on Ford's part, but this emblem, you can't remove this emblem without breaking the clips that hold it in. So when you remove this, it's going to break the clips off the back, and then you either have to buy a new one or you have to get a little creative like I did, and I just put some two-sided tape on there and stuck it back on. Because I pulled it apart so I could troubleshoot to see what the problem was, and I verified the camera was bad, but then when you want to put this thing back on there, the clips break off and you don't have a way to fix it. So that's another one of the known issues with these trucks. The other issue that I experienced early on with this truck, and it's another one of the known issues, I went on the F-150 forums and did a lot of research, and it was a problem back when these trucks first came out. Because I think 11 was kind of the new model year. They transitioned from the 10s to the 11s, and there was a new body style and a lot of new things about them. Normally, you know, the conventional wisdom is to steer clear from a new model year. Like I said, I got a great deal on this truck, so I just did it. But one of the issues is transmission clunk, and people will call it a stop and go clunk or some kind of a clunk in the transmission. Basically what it is if you stopped at a red light, as soon as you hit the accelerator pedal, whether it was soft or whether it was kind of hitting it pretty good, you would get a pretty considerable clunk when you took off. and it gets to be really annoying. So I started doing some research, in particular on the F-150 forum, and found out that yes, it's another one of those known issues with these trucks. Apparently with these 2011s, they changed some stuff, and I know they had it with the Raptors and they had it with this particular truck. What was happening is, I guess when Ford made these transmissions for this year, they line the inside splines of the transmission where it comes out and meets up with the drive shaft. They lined it with some type of a Teflon coating or something, so the transmission spline goes into the transmission. And apparently they lined it with some type of coating where they felt like it didn't need to be lubricated and it was supposed to last longer or whatever. Well, that wasn't the case. What happens over time is that because there wasn't any lubrication or something in there, it would bind, or it would stick when you would stop, and then when you would go, it would take it a second to kind of break loose again. So it was another one of those known issues. Fortunately, this is one that Ford acknowledged. They put out a service bulletin to all of the dealerships, and you could take it in and you could get it fixed. When I bought this truck, it was under an extended warranty. It covered the powertrain for 7 years or 100,000 miles. So I was able to take my truck back in, and they did fix it under the extended warranty. Basically, from what I understand, the fix is they drop the drive shaft and they just lube all that connection up really good, and then they just put it back together. Whatever they do, for me so far it's worked. I had that done probably a year ago, and I haven't had any other issues with it. But for a long time before I finally broke down to take it in, it was kind of a pain. It was pretty annoying. Every time you go, you get that little clunk. So that is another one of those known issues. So just be aware. Now the other one, and this is kind of what inspired me to make this video, because this is the one that's been, well, I've got two more actually. First I'll go over the issue that I had that I fixed recently, with the help from a YouTube video, and I'll try to put the link to the video in my video. This truck, it's a Lariat, so it's kind of a loaded out truck. Not necessarily what I wanted. I didn't feel like I needed all the extra gadgets, honestly, because those are the things that have caused me the most problem with this truck, is all the little extra gadgets. It has a moonroof on it, or sunroof, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to climb up here and just give you a little shot of it. I mean, most people know what a sunroof looks like, but all right. In this video, I don't do a lot of video editing, so you just get raw video. All right, so as you can see, just your standard, you know, this is the moonroof or sunroof on the truck. About a year ago, real nice night, I'm driving down the road, I decide, hey, I'm gonna open up the old sunroof. So I hit the button, open up, it gets about halfway back, and then I hear a pop, and the sunroof will not move any further. And I'm like, okay, now what happens? And no matter what I did, I couldn't get the sunroof to move. So immediately, as most people do these days, I get on the internet, start digging around, and realize yet another known issue with the F-150s. If you go on the F-150 forum, there is a huge thread about the sunroofs in these trucks. The problem is there are some plastic parts in the mechanism that moves the sunroof back and forth and also operates the tilt. Well, apparently, if you don't use your sunroof that much, and also if you don't lubricate the tracks in the sunroof, as they're kind of over time, I guess the plastic just starts to deteriorate or whatever, but they'll break. The plastic parts will just snap. And that's exactly what happened to mine. So of course I go to YouTube, I find a video, an excellent video, which I'll try to post the link to it, where a guy demonstrates the process to fix the sunroof, because after some research I found that this is about a $1,500 to $2,000 job to fix the sunroof if you take it to a Ford dealership. Your local mechanics may charge a little bit, but it's a lot of labor. And I can tell you from experience, it's a ton of labor, because I found a good YouTube video and I did it myself. I'm gonna jump down off this truck. And I can tell you, it took me probably 7 hours to fix it. The reason being is you pretty much have to take out all the insides of your truck. I'm gonna stick my head in here. All this headliner has to come out. You have to take the A and B pillar covers and the C pillar covers off. You have to drop the headline. You have to unhook all your connections here. All this stuff has to come out. And then once you remove your headliner, then there's a frame that sits up in the roof of the truck that the sunroof and the motor and all the stuff that go with it rides on. That whole frame has to be dropped out of the truck in one big piece with the sunroof attached. Has to be pulled out of the truck. Then you have to take there's a big cable in there and there's a motor that moves it back and forth. You have to take that assembly apart, which requires drilling out some rivets that are in there. You have to take that apart, and then you have to take the sunroof out of the track, and you have to replace the components in the track. It's not a extremely difficult task. It's just extremely time consuming, and getting the frame out of the truck, it's heavy. You need 2 people to get it out. And in the video I saw, the guy took the seats out. I was lucky. I did not take the seats out and I managed to wiggle it out. I just laid the seats back. But I'm telling you, it was a huge undertaking. It took me probably 7-8 hours to get the job done. So that is a known issue. If you go on the F-150 forums, if you go online, tons and tons of people talking about these plastic components in this track, and they break. And the fix is you take it to a garage or the Ford company or a Ford dealership, and they're going to get you for probably 8 to 9 hours of labor. And it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And oh, by the way, the parts kit to fix it costs 125 bucks. So for 125 bucks and a solid day out here with a 6-pack, 12-pack of beer, probably at that point, I managed to fix it and save myself a ton of money. But I will tell you, it was a huge pain in the ass because you got to pretty much gut the inside of your truck. That's another one of the big known issues. The last known issue I'm going to talk about, because this video is getting pretty long, is the heater and air conditioning blend doors. Another huge issue with these trucks. I've seen tons and tons of threads. I've seen tons of YouTube videos about them. And unfortunately, I'm about to undertake this task probably this weekend. Both of the blend doors on my heating and air conditioning system have broken, and I've had to, it's the actuator motors actually, and I've had to fix I fixed the first one. I'm going to swing my thing around here so you can see. You can look at YouTube videos and get some more information. And in fact, I'll probably put a link up for the video to fix it. Okay, so I have this truck has a dual zone heating and air conditioning system, which I don't get the point of it. It's kind of silly, but anyway, so the first one, there's an actuator motor. It's a little black plastic motor about this big, and it has gears that go into the blend door, and basically it just adjusts them to the temperature changes. Okay, so the first one is behind this console, and it's sitting kind of up on top back behind here. So to get to it, you have to take this whole thing out. All right. Which in itself is not a huge deal. These panels here pop off. There's some screws here, and then this pops off, and then you just pull the whole entertainment center out. But I'll tell you, it's very hard to reach. It's got I think two or three screws holding it in. It's very, very difficult to get to it, especially there's one in the back. You have to disconnect the electrical connector. It took me about 2 hours just because it was such a pain to get to it and get my hands back there. I actually had to go in here and into the glove box, come up behind it, and use a very small 8mm box wrench and just a little piece at a time take the back screw out. Anyway, I fixed that one. The bigger problem is on the dual zone ones, that one covers the passenger side. The one that covers the driver's side is down here up under. I'll move my camera. Okay, you can see I actually have some stuff pulled out. I've got some of the plastic trim pulled out. I don't know how well this is going to come out. But anyway, so up here under the entertainment center, it's not really showing you much. But anyway, the other one is way back up here. That one is the one that, once again, you go on the internet, start looking around. I've looked at YouTube videos. It's buried. The official Ford fix for it is to take the entire dash out of the truck. I'm talking the entire dash to the firewall, draining the air conditioning heating system, and pulling it all apart, replacing this actuator motor, and then putting it all back together. They charge around, I think it's about 8 to 9 hours of labor, and so you're talking probably $1,000 to $1,200 job to fix a $30 part. That's right. When I replaced the part, it was $30. So I am going to attempt, with the help of some YouTube videos, I am going to attempt to replace that part. I fixed the one on the top side. I'm going to try to fix the one on the bottom side. From everything I've heard, it's a huge pain in the ass, and it's about a half a day to a day job for most people. So I'm going to attempt it myself and see if I can save some money, because I just can't justify taking it in and paying $1,000 to fix a $30 part. So anyway, all right, well look, this video, that's a couple of the issues that I just want to point out. Like I said, I made this video because I just wanted to help people. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about trucks and things that I've had issues with, and I just kind of wanted to return the favor and help people if you're considering buying a used F-150 out on the used market. I would say overall, I've been very happy with this truck. The truck drives great. I like the 5.0 motor. I like the fit and finish on the interior. It's got nice leather interior. It's quiet on the highway. Overall, I really enjoy this truck. It's these little things that can get to you, and unfortunately, Ford makes some of these little things to be very expensive fixes. But if you can fix them yourself and you're patient, then it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, it's a pain, and I have a feeling that quite a few cuss words are going to be said when I'm working on this blend door on the bottom. But overall, I've been extremely happy with this truck. I've got probably 55 something thousand miles on it. I don't drive a lot day to day. I work very close to home. So it's low mileage for the age of the truck, but I've been extremely happy with this truck. But just kind of wanted to do this to make you aware of some of the issues that you might see are common with these F-150s, especially the 2011s to the 2014. So if you have any other issues that you want to add to it that may help other people, you know, throw them in the comments. Like I said, I don't want the comments to turn into Ford bashing. That's not what this video is about. If people are coming to look at this video, hopefully they're coming to look for a little bit of help or just a little bit of information. Like I said, I looked at all the trucks when I bought my truck, and I just had very good luck with Fords. Doesn't mean I'm going to buy a Ford when I get rid of this one. I'm going to go into it with my mind open and see what happens. But I don't want to get into brand bashing. That's not what this video is about. If it starts turning into that, I'll just lock the comments. But I just wanted to do something to kind of help people and give them some information. So hopefully this does help some people. And if it does, you know, give me a like. Whatever, you know, I'm not really doing this to gain subscribers or likes or whatever. I'm just doing this to kind of return the favor for people. But, you know, if you like it, give me a like. And if you want to subscribe, I'm going to try to do more videos like this, truck related. I have a motorcycle. I do work on my motorcycle. So things like that, just things to help people out. All right. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.